where the Celtics didn't just upset the top seed Milwaukee in Game 1 yesterday, they actually blew them out by 22. Kyrie Irving had a big game, scoring 26, while MVP favorite, the Greek Freak, was held in check, putting up just 22 points. In fact, Boston was so dominant that Paul Pierce said after the game, the series is already over. I think that's probably a bit too much.
Because Paul Pierce said it.
But
Yeah.
I think it's over, but I do expect the Celtics to win this series.
It is over, and I understand people don't think it's an unbiased opinion coming from a former Celtic great like Paul Pierce, but it's about the message, not the messenger in this one. And it's funny because we all saw this coming in terms of what you can do in playoff basketball versus regular season basketball. We were talking about how the officials are different. Also, the game slows down. You get a well-coached Boston team, and they have guys who have been in that moment, like a Kyrie Irving. All of a sudden, you just saw them. Let's just pack the paint. Let's just attack Giannis, and then let's see what others can do. What others can do, that starting lineup went 30% from the field. 30%. And you think about what Giannis, who can't shoot reliably, what they did is just like, we're going to make you shoot and be reliable. And what happened is he couldn't live up to that moment just in Game 1. I think you're going to get much more of the same, and I don't think that collectively they'll respond.
I don't believe in Milwaukee, and there's no disrespect to Milwaukee. I just don't believe in them. Brunhauser, he did this in Atlanta. And then they got exposed in the playoffs. There's no adjustments. Mm-hmm. Now, Giannis never could shoot the ball. He dominated, not so much dominant, but he definitely did. He played really well during the season against Boston. It's no different. It's just that his supporting casts are not shooting well. Now, if you look at the tape, you look at the game, a lot of his turnovers or block shots or missed shots, he could have dished them out. Let's see him adjust this game, but I seriously doubt that Milwaukee's going to beat Boston in a Game 7.
To me, Boston was the most impressive team over the weekend. And we've had this narrative going throughout the regular season that it's a hot mess in Boston. Mm-hmm. Kyrie wants out. Yeah. They get Gordon Hayward. They can't figure out what to do with him. Now it's all seeming to come together. Kyrie looks good. Gordon Hayward is starting to play well.
You know the key to that, though? Marcus Smart is out. So now that Marcus Smart is out, that's 20, 25 minutes that can be allocated throughout those wings, whether it's Gordon Hayward, whether it's Jaylen Brown, whether it's Rozier, right? So now they have more of those minutes, and it's consistency. So if I know that I'm not worried about Marcus, sharing time. I know after Kyrie, I'm coming in Rozier. Gordon Hayward, when Kyrie's out, Gordon Hayward becomes the facilitator, and Jason Tatum. Like, that's what the key is for Boston, in my opinion, that Marcus Smart is out now. Because when you had all those guys, it's hard to have a rhythm, and it's hard for those guys to really get play.
And that was one of the storylines coming into the season. Enough minutes for all the guys to keep them happy and to keep them engaged. And it's amazing. One of the storylines also is last year they didn't have Kyrie. We're a better team without Kyrie. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you're not. And now you're witnessing that, the first series, those Kyrie moments. Kyrie, with the win yesterday with the Boston Celtics, has the most wins in terms of win percentage in NBA history. 772, 44-13 in terms of win percentage. Kyrie in the postseason, Kyrie, magical. Like, just, and clutch on top of that. So he is the guy that you can say is reliable in these moments. Giannis is still learning how to be the MVP in those moments.
What happens when Marcus Smart coming back? What happens?
It's going to kill I think it kills the chemistry. Because, again, basketball's a rhythm sport, okay? So if that's a rhythm sport and I know Jason's going to give me 30 minutes, I know Marcellus is going to give me 30 minutes, and I'm going to be the closer, now all of a sudden this guy comes back, Jason's minutes are not 30 no more. They're 20. They may be 17 because this guy may be playing a little better, so the coach is going to keep him in. When you have that type of disparity when it comes to those, the guys start thinking, those 4 shots that they miss, they probably can get it back if they had they consistent 30. Now they only have 17. It kind of plays with your mind mentally. So I think having one of those guys out so the other guys can flourish is best for Boston.
And let's look at Boston. They hit that switch. Everyone talks about no one can hit the switch or it's dangerous. They played a dangerous game, and so far it looks good. The last 10 games, they've won 9 of those games. Opponents' points per game, 98, leading the league. Opponents' field goal percentage, 41%, leading the league. Yeah. They figured it out. Part of it is the
If Jason Tatum was out, not Jason Tatum, if Jaylen Brown was out and Marcus Smart was healthy, they'd be doing well. Because if you have too much, sometimes too much is not good. And they think they had too much, and Marcus Smart being out is better.
Well, Giannis may be the likely MVP of the league this year, but he wasn't even close to an MVP yesterday, with huge drops across the board in his stats, including shooting a terrible 33% from the field, his worst shooting performance of the year, in a game where he took at least 15 shots. To me, I don't want to overheat and overreact, but I thought he got exposed a little bit by Al Horford. And Al Horford did this to Joel Embiid last year in the playoffs. I don't expect him to be an MVP performer during this series.
It's very. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
It's just very. It's very tricky because Al Horford, yes, is a great defender, great role player, great star, blah blah blah, whatever you want to call him. But it's the Boston Celtics defense which helped Al Horford be at the top of the line with Joel Embiid, because Al Horford can't guard him by himself. Right. When you see Giannis, look at that. Al Horford's not by himself. Those guys are swallowing in, so it makes Giannis make different moves, right? So now Al Horford can get back in front of him, can tip the ball, deflect or whatever. I'm not saying Al Horford is not a good defender. He's a really good defender. But Giannis is you need a team for him, and that's what Boston has, is a team. And that's what Joel Embiid last year suffered, because Boston Celtics, that Brad Stevens defense, you have the majority of that team that can play defense.
Yeah,
literally starters and the guys coming off the bench.
They had a lot of tremendous help defense, especially baseline support. Well, like you said, making them do different moves.
Yes.
They know what you like to do, Giannis. You like to spin into that baseline.
So not exposed.
Yeah.
Well, he got exposed. And well, the league has exposed almost everyone.
Yeah.
If you can't shoot
7 games,
like score.
Did he make like 3 threes yesterday?
I'm not sure if he made 3 threes, but a
Shooting.
lot of his shots. Think about it. A lot of his shots were shots he usually makes. It's just that the rhythm of them is different. The rhythm of them, and you're playing Boston now, they sucking in the paint. So you can't just get to the basket, dunk it, get to the free throw line really quick, get your rhythm, and shoot a 15-footer so Al Horford can come up to you and you can get past him. They threw his rhythm off. I don't think they exposed him the way. He has to come back and think, and he says, now what I have to do is I have to pass it to my guys faster. So then now when they make their shots, I got Al by myself, because those defenders won't help him as fast as they will. They were sinking in that paint on him, which makes him look like he wasn't knowing what he was doing. But once he adjusts his second game, you can tell more, I think.
It's tough to out-athlete in playoff basketball. Yeah. What you have to do is really outshoot. I mean, we even have moved from outscoring to outshoot. Think about it. Dame Dollar versus Russell Westbrook. Say what you want. It comes into, can you shoot better at the MVP of your team? Durant, versus the Clippers, and now you see it against the Rockets. You see it with Kyrie Irving. Like, can you shoot? Because if not, we could condense around you and force them to shoot. And if they're role players, plus, they're not going to perform as well. And it's just a situation like that Giannis is getting exposed, as we kind of been whispering. He needs to work on that jump shot offseason. Well, offseason is going to come a little sooner.
Yeah.
I would say more so, and look, he does have to. He's a young guy. He will elevate his game. But more than anything, don't you think they got to elevate the personnel around him?
For sure.
That's the number one thing. It's just one game. But if Boston takes them out in 5 or 6 games, or even 7 games, I think it's a clear deal. Like, if Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee, y'all better get him some support.
And it's funny because it's kind of like the equivalent to Giannis and Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez, in the beginning, was a post defender. I mean, offensive nightmare, offensively. They don't even expose him when they have Brown on him and
he's at the three-point line.
He's at 3-point line. I would expose them, and they don't even do that where he's really good in the post. It seemed like Joel Embiid when he was when the Sixers were playing Brooklyn. Joel Embiid was out a game, and Ben Simmons, he flourished.
Yeah.
The lane was open, and then he comes back. Then Simmons, you get 14 points, 12 points. You're not as impactful. And I think they need to start, again, like I said, Budenholzer, he needs to adjust. When you have those little guys on Brook Lopez, punish them. But guess what? Now where's Giannis going to be at? You want him to shoot 15-footers, 17-footers? You don't want that. So he has to get a jump shot like Ben Simmons, and then it opens it up.
All right, before we go, I'd like to say a word or two about Philadelphia rapper Meek Mill and the 76ers Raptors playoff game tonight. I'm very suspicious of anyone publicly whining about a Pennsylvania judge denying Meek Mill the right to travel to Canada to watch the game courtside. Under terms of his probation from a 2008 conviction for illegally possessing a gun and drug charges, Meek must get permission from the courts to travel outside the state. That permission has been denied, and Sixers owner Michael Rubin is upset the team won't have its human mascot tonight during a critical Game 2 matchup. Rubin is so upset that he posted a lengthy message on Instagram decrying the unfairness of it all, writing, quote, "Judge Janice Brinkley, I know you have a vendetta against Meek Mill and are obsessed with trying to control every aspect of his life, but did you really not approve him to go to rep the Sixers in Toronto for the game? And most importantly, if this happens to Meek, what do you think happens to the average person who can't afford great lawyers, etc., on probation?" The average person on probation isn't seeking permission to leave the country to watch a basketball game they can watch on TV. Meek isn't average. He's an elite with elite friends who travel the globe watching sporting events and partying. Michael Rubin is a stereotypical elite social justice warrior who believes in trickle-down social justice. You've never heard of trickle-down social justice? It's the close relative of trickle-down economics, the theory that was supported by conservatives that the better we make things for the rich, the better things will be for the poor. The left believes the exact same thing when it comes to social justice. You see, in Michael Rubin's mind, if Meek Mill is sitting courtside along Drake tonight, poor people sitting in American prisons tonight will feel more free. Eventually, Meek Mill's ability to sit courtside in gold chains will trickle down to the poor. Meek is a symbol of American oppression. He is the modern-day Nelson Mandela. In fact, his next album should be called Meek Mandela. The story of Meek will symbolize how far we've allowed, the story of Meek symbolizes how far away we've moved from reality and legitimate support of the poor. It's all just branding now. It's all a gimmick to increase our social media standing. Celebrity elites have turned Dr. King's dream into a nightmare. More Speak for Yourself after this.